everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer. Welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you have two films to go check out. And it is a double dose of pure comedy coming from my favorite directors, the Coen brothers. And joining me is our fearless leader here at the SPDM Crew. It's Mike Hilty.
Oh, please don't hate me for my former Big Lebowski takes. Please
Did you say
hate me.
former?
We'll see. We'll see. I'll have to talk through my complicated feelings about it.
Well, Mike, the dude abides here
Mm.
on here in the Wasteland. And yes, we are talking about 1998, The Big Lebowski, and followed up by 1987's Raising Arizona.
Mm.
So, as I mentioned, I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan. They're my favorite directors. And The Big Lebowski is, on a good day, my fifth favorite movie of all time. It rotates with Shrek and Shrek 2.
Mm.
It is a murky place in my favorite movie list, but it's all laughs all around.
Mm.
But this film, Jeff the Dude Lebowski, mistaken for a millionaire of the same name, seeks restitution for his ruined rug when a Chinaman pissed on his rug
Mm.
and enlists his bowling buddies to help get it back.
Does he
Well,
really
and
enlist? Does he really enlist them, or or does one just butt in?
Walter specifically volunteers himself.
Yeah.
And also, dude, the preferred nomenclature is Asian American. Um, um, I'm gonna try to not turn this into me quoting this whole entire movie. But Mike, what were your general thoughts on the Big Lebowski?
Okay. Cards on the table. Full disclosure. The first time I saw this movie, I was very young. I didn't get it. I thought this movie was severely overrated. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. And then I thought about it a little bit more. And I think one of the other reasons why I was like, fuck this movie for a while was when I was in college, I was in a fraternity and we did a competition each year, all the fraternities and sororities. It was called Greek Sing. It's pretty much all of us gathering together and singing choir, like singing like a choir. It was stupid. And
Was
one
this
year,
was this Pitch Perfect?
no, it was not
Okay,
a cappella style. We played
okay.
like, yeah. So we one year the guys kind of running Greek Sing for our fraternity, they picked um they picked Hotel California and they picked the CCR song that they sing for this, and it's like a Big Lebowski tribute. And I'm like,
Well, here's
why
the
the
thing. Which Credence song? Because there's multiple.
yeah,
I'm
the
guessing
looking
looking out my back door.
yeah, looking out my back door.
The greatest scene in the history of cinema, as the internet, YouTube specifically tells me, as he's smoking a joint,
Yep.
banging on the roof of his car.
Right. So I think that also contributed to me not liking this movie as much as I probably should. So I told you last month I'm gonna give it a shot. I will try again. And I watched it. I watched it again today. And I enjoy this movie a lot more. It is much funnier. It
Mm.
once you can understand the jokes and understand, just the story a little bit more, that, this is
What
mis-
story?
this is mistaken identity mixed with just stupid crime and like just
A
idiot
bunch of
people.
idiots.
Just a bunch of idiots. Yes, that's the perfect way to put it. Um, man, Jeff Bridges is great in this.
I'm pretty sure this is just Jeff
He's
Bridges.
just so damn good in this, and just the trio of Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, and Steve Buscemi is just fantastic. So I enjoyed this a lot
I am the
more.
walrus. I am the walrus. God damn it, Donnie, shut the F.
Oh man. And it's funny because I've heard a ton of these quotes all the time, and it's like, oh shit, that's right. That's where some of these quotes come from. Like just recently at trivia, there was a Big Lebowski quote on there. It's like, "This is what you get when you fuck a stranger in the ass." I'm like,
You
oh
mean this is what happens when you meet a stranger in the Alps?
yeah,
The TV
the,
edit,
the TBS edit of it. Yeah.
which the Cohen brothers wrote because they they were mad. Like they're like, we gotta edit this. Well, we're gonna make it ridiculous.
Well, and I feel like that's what everybody should do. They should just have some fun with this and be like, "Hey, you asked for this, so
It's
you
one of the
prudes."
two best TV edits in the history of television. One is Walter screaming, "This is what happens when you meet a stranger in the Alps," as he's destroying a car. And the other one is in Happy Gilmore,
Hmm.
which will be next month's episode with Mike, where he said, "Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a hoot?" instead of shit. Which
the
honestly, the hoot actually is funnier.
yeah. The only other one that I can add to it is that the TBS version of Die Hard says "Yippee ki Mr. Falcon." Like like
Wow.
where did that come from?
Coen
That's
Brothers
weird.
also wrote that one. Um, because so obviously I led with this is one of my favorite movies.
Mhm.
I would like to give a little bit of perspective on this movie because most people will probably watch this movie for the first time and be like, "What the hell is this?" Which honestly was my first reaction too. When I watched this for the first time, I laughed a decent amount, but I'm like, I don't know what that was meant to be. Here's a fun fact: the Coen Brothers don't mean anything,
No,
which they're like, and if their movies do mean something, they're never going to tell you,
no,
and they'll probably lie. And
probably.
that's one of the most fun things about the Coen brothers is that they just troll people
Hmm.
with unrelentingly troll people about their movies. But generally their films are just about it. It's I don't think it's a coincidence that there's nihilists in this movie.
No, right.
Because the Coen brothers perspective is the world is cruel, the world is awkward, and just everything is a mess. And this film is an ode to old Raymond Chandler PI film books.
Hmm.
So like The Big Sleep and all of those kinds of films like Humphrey Bogart, um, like The Maltese Falcon. Um, like that's what this is supposed to be, which is why Sam Polito's character showed. I was like, I'm a brother Seamus, and because like he thinks the dude's a PI.
Hmm.
He's just like, leave my lady friend alone. um, because the dude's not a PI, but
No.
honestly, he kind of is in
Well,
this situation
he
because
developed some PI skills
yeah,
throughout the course of this. He falls backwards into
yes,
most of the situations in
like every
this.
single one.
Oh
Like
yeah. Hmm.
the dude, it's like the bomb's lost. Which because that's the thing, right off the bat. One thing I absolutely adore all of the homages and vibes that this movie goes for. So one, you have this old reeds come tumbling down and you get this like old-timey western
Hmm.
vibe of like 50s westerns and specifically Sam Elliott the stranger narrating this.
Just what a weird person just to. Oh, well, first of all, no, that's not true. Sam uh
Sam Elliott
Sam
has one
Elliott,
of
yeah.
the best voices in
Yes.
history of
So
movies.
that makes sense, but just what a strange character just to put in there because he has absolutely nothing to do with this movie at all. He just talks to the dude a couple of times and that's about it.
And it's just like it's like do you have to cuss so much? F and A.
Hmm.
And it just that whole voiceover at the beginning and like the dude using a personal check to
For
buy
uh,
milk.
67 cents. This movie is so aggressively 90s that I loved it so much. Um,
The
down
George H.W. Bush being like this what's the specific one? This unchecked aggression will not stand, which then the dude is like, this unchecked aggression will not stand, man.
man. Hmm.
And Jeff Bridges is perfect.
Oh
Like
yeah,
pitch perfect. Those were all of his own clothes. Like
that
his
not
grandkids
surprising
call
at
him
all.
dude.
Well,
They don't call him grandpop. They don't call him grandfather or pop pop or anything. They call him dude
that's
because this is
awesome.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
And he is so authentic. Legitimately, Walter Sobchak is my favorite supporting character in any movie ever.
ever. Wow,
Ever.
wow.
Because he is hilarious. He is such an asshole.
He's such an asshole in this.
Am
Oh my god, he's such an asshole in this.
I wrong? No, am I wrong? No, Walter, you're not wrong. You're just being an asshole. It's like, Walter, calm down. It's like, calmer you are, dude. Calmer than you are. Calmer than you are.
It's just he needs to have everything in order, and the fact that he's like a Vietnam vet just adds
And will
on to
not let
just
it go.
so much of the mystique with this. And then I think the end of this when he is arguing with the guy about the urn and how it's just so expensive, so they're like, fuck it, let's go to Ralph's instead.
Yeah.
And then he takes the ashes and
Go
oh,
all over the dude. Right in his face. It's like, what's it have to do with Vietnam, Walter? It's like, well, not anything directly to do with Vietnam, Walter. Donnie, like so many young men of his generation, taken too soon.
mhm.
And just like, dude, Walter, what are you talking about?
Yeah, this makes no sense, but John Goodman is just fantastic in this role. He's an amazing shouter. John Goodman is perhaps one of the most amazing shouters that we have in Hollywood today, but I don't know, like you forget how talented John Goodman is sometimes because he spent such a long time away from like the Hollywood spotlight, and then
Yeah,
he's made a bit of resurgence lately, which I'm
with the
super grateful.
Connors and
The
the
righteous
Righteous Gemstones.
gemstones. So I'm super grateful for that. But man, John Goodman is just
So good.
he's such
It's
a
like,
jerk in this.
what are you doing, Daddy? Daddy?
Mhm.
Which, if you need somebody to talk about the Righteous Gemstones for your TV show,
Oh, it's
other than
we will
me, me,
definitely
me.
we will definitely
Um,
do that soon. So no
so
worries about that. I
now I just want to quote everything Walter said in this movie. The Jewishness. I don't roll on the Shabbos. The I quote this quite a bit. Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
Mhm.
Because sometimes I feel like it. It's every time
Yeah.
I go to a movie theater. I'm Walter. I don't pull a piece,
No, no, of
but
course.
like, because I don't own one and I
Mhm.
don't believe in guns. But
Mhm.
like, Walter sure does. The I don't know how this was an emergency. I don't roll on the Shabbos. A whole entire conversation. I don't. You don't just hand in your library card and stop being Jewish.
Mhm.
I can get you a toe. If I knew anything in my
And
life, this man walks.
you know.
Which, God, like, and Mike. So my mom is very pragmatic and consistently talks about when she dies that
Okay.
my brother and I are prepared. And my brother hates it and yells at her whenever she brings this up. And what I did the first time she walked me through all the details of what I'm supposed to do if she passes away, I pulled up my laptop and pulled up the scene. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. when I go and get you cremated.
Mm.
And I showed it in the clip. It's like, just because we're bereaved doesn't make us. And it's just like, this is our most modest receptacle.
Hmm.
So Walter's a gem from
Oh
start to
yes,
finish. Steve Buscemi, Donnie, hilarious.
that
Um,
poor bastard just he just can't catch a break with any of these people, and it's so funny when Walter just yells at him because he's just delivering the message that, hey, we're bowling on a Saturday. It's like, dude, leave him alone. Come on,
we don't roll in the showers.
Mhm.
Um, the whole entire argument about Lenin, I am a walrus,
Mhm.
and he's talking about like Lenin from Soviet Russia.
Mhm.
But Steve Buscemi's so great at this like quiet, awkward guy. Julianne Moore,
Julianne Moore,
Julie is from the Beaver picture. You mean vagina
vaginal,
picture?
yeah. Man, I sometimes forget that Julianne Moore is just was she's not in this a lot, but she
No,
is just the right amount of quirky for this particular role.
Jeffrey, he's thorough. Which is she puts on like this um mid-Atlantic type accent,
Mhm.
very Catherine Hepburn.
Yeah.
I have to say, David Huddleston is one of the hidden gems of this movie as the Big Lebowski.
Oh yes, I would have
It's
to.
just like, well, aren't you? Some
He
Chinaman in Korea took my legs.
he's such an asshole about stuff too, and you know
Well, he
you
met a bigger asshole who threw him out of his wheelchair.
right. Oh my god, that's one of the many moments in this when you're just like cringing so much
This man walks.
between between that, the spreading of the ashes, the part with the marmot, or like what is that, like a
Ferret.
possum or something?
I'm pretty sure it was a ferret.
Oh, ferret, yeah, whatever
Um,
it is.
we're gonna cut off you, Johnson. Peter Stormare,
Mhm.
Lee from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. My God, Walter f's them up.
Yes,
Like
well,
Flea gets a bowling ball to the chest.
which should kill you. That
Yeah,
should be instant
he
death.
looked like he was probably gonna die.
Yeah.
And then he bites off Peter Stormare's ear. It's like anti-Semite and punches him in the face. Because like they're nihilists and he assumes they're Nazis. Because Walter's an idiot and doesn't know.
Well,
Walter looks like he knows a lot.
well, the funniest part about that scene is that, you know, they're trying to put on this like big persona that they mean business and they want the money, but they don't know that everybody's figured out what's actually happened here. So they're just like, you're full of shit, and they're just like, no, we're the tough guys now.
My
And it's like,
girlfriend
you
lost her toe.
goddamn hypocrites.
Don't worry, Donnie. They're nihilists. Um, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, just
Mr. Lebowski. This Brett is him laughing when Tara Reid said Brett has to pay to watch. It's like I'll suck you for $1,000.
like he could watch for 100. And
Yeah, Tara Reid being in this makes this insanely 90s to begin with.
right, like between the checks, the aesthetics, the fact that the bowling alley, you have to like write down your score, like when Walter is like, you up, line, like
It's
that's
over
a
the
zero,
line.
like mark it as an 8. And he goes crazy with that. And then the voicemails and the answering machine specifically, yeah.
um,
And then
the
Tara Reid's
Jesus,
inclusive. Oh my
one of the greatest minor characters in the history of cinema. Um, he's a pederast, dude.
John Turturro, just that guy, just he knows how to just steal scenes
Which, for
in
the record, Mr. John Turturro is indeed an Italian American. Um, you know, I've seen him play Mexican. I've seen him play Israeli. I've
Hmm.
seen him play so many things. But
Yes.
yes, he is an Italian American.
Hmm.
But
Fair enough.
the jumpsuit, the hairnet,
Hmm.
the licking
The
of
licking
the
of the
ball,
ball.
the
The,
incredible Gypsy Kings cover of Hotel California
mhm.
because the dude hates the effing Eagles.
He hates the
Hates
Eagles.
the
Yeah.
F- Which one I have this on vinyl, the soundtrack, because the
Hmm.
soundtrack's amazing. The Bob Dylan, the na 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 through like the bowling alley opening credits, amazing. Um, the Credence, obviously,
Hmm.
and most importantly, Mike just dropped in to see what condition your condition was in
Hmm.
because Kenny Rogers and the first edition and Gutter Balls. Gutter Balls is one of my favorite scenes in any movie.
Hmm.
This corn parody drunk I like drugged out stupor fever dream is
Hmm.
one of the funniest things because that song works so perfect. The dude doing all the dancing and everything, Saddam Hussein being the guy who gives out the shoes, the bowling alley, and like all the win and the bowling pin women, him looking up their skirts and everything, just all of it.
It is
This
so
movie,
weird, but it's also just so hilarious too.
every time you watch this movie, it just further just sinks into your brain.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm at because I could probably quote this from almost start to finish
Nice.
because it's just complete insanity, but it's so funny and
Hmm.
it's so ridiculous. And the fact that the Coen brothers made a PI noir spoof like this is just incredible.
Yeah.
Uh, I could just keep on going. David Thewlis,
Just that creepy ass laugh. Like,
who
oh.
is this guy? Maybe and like it's wild because John Turturro made a Jesus sequel. He gets out
Yeah.
of prison as like an older man,
Hmm.
and I'm waiting for the Big Lebowski 2 with the
The
dude's kid
the
being an
kid.
adult.
Yeah, and oh man, just the final lines where Sam Elliott is just going through and like treating this guy like this ultimate hero,
Yeah,
and it's like what the fuck? Like, no,
the dude's out there fighting for all of us.
no, he's not. No, he's not. That's ridiculous.
It's just so perfect.
It's great though. Yeah, I will give it a lot of credit for that
It's
because rewatching this, yes, I this is why you can't ever judge a movie on your first watch because you need to give it at least a couple other watch. Just like, hey, don't ever turn off a TV show just based on the pilot alone.
this movie is a hard nut to crack the first time because you're just like, what is this?
Yes,
And
very much so.
like legitimately, what is this? And it just grows on you. And like I said, I could quote this from start to finish, and I promise I won't make any more quotes from this movie. Because I have plenty more for Raising Arizona.
Mm,
So, Raising Arizona from 1987. When a childless couple, an ex-con and an ex-cop, decide to help themselves to one of another family's quintuplets, their lives become more complicated than they anticipated. And this is the the most favorite comedy of Edgar Wright.
huh.
Edgar
Okay.
Wright loves Raising Arizona.
I can
Um,
I can see that.
and Mike, what are your thoughts on Raising Arizona?
This is the first time I've ever seen Raising
Okay.
Arizona. It is one of these list of shame movies that I'm like, I don't know why it took me so long to see it. Um, boy, Nicolas Cage is just unhinged in this, and I think that's kind of one of interesting things about this movie is that most everyone is unhinged. E- even Holly Hunter's character,
It's a
Ed,
bit
is a little
emotionally unhinged.
gets a little unhinged as well. But I think one of the things that I like about this is that this movie is exceedingly funny because this
Yes.
poor kid just is just sitting there in his car seat or in a chair and is like, these fucking people are taking care of me, like, really? But one thing also that I know I greatly appreciate about this is that there is some things that are said about parenthood and
Mhm.
what it means to be a parent in
Mhm.
this that I truly appreciate it. Look, it's mixed in with a lot of like absurd
Mhm.
situations here. Like, I think it's hilarious that this couple who, fertility issues in the 90s, not something that like a lot of
Yeah.
people wanted to talk about, or in the 80s in this case as well. And I love that this group thought kidnapping versus before things like
Adoption.
adoption or anything like that.
Well, Mike, they had 5 kids.
No,
They had plenty to spare.
naturally, uh, duh. But just, and what this also says about recidivism and prison as well,
Mhm.
and kind of piggybacking off of what, or maybe Shawshank piggybacks off this, where it's talking about being institutionalized and not,
Yeah.
and feeling like you you don't belong. And Hi and Ed are just one of these like weird couples out there who, I'm sure this probably happens more often than people think, when a cop and a
Repeat
convict,
offender.
or like a repeat offender, like, they see each other enough, they get together, they fall in love, blah blah blah. But it's just so interesting, the dynamic between those two, because when it comes to opposites attract, like, this is pretty high up there in terms of
Mhm.
who Ed is as a character and who High is as a character, particularly at the beginning of this movie when you first meet them.
Mhm.
But then you go through, like, it's not until like 2/3 of the way through the movie it's like, what the fuck is Ed doing with this guy? Like, this guy, High
Hey, guy.
is uh,
Ah.
High is just such an idiot, just like so many other characters in this. But I don't know, there was a lot of charm to this. I
Mhm.
laughed a lot
Yeah.
during this, which is weird because I was watching it by myself, and I always feel weird if I laugh at something. I'm like, I hope that's the joke that everybody else laughed at too. But yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. This was one where I was like, what the fuck took me so long?
Well, first off, the cold open of this is basically the redneck up.
Wow.
um
Wow.
Minus the death at the end, but like the infertility and everything, and like it's a charming love story that should make no sense, but like where it's like Ed's crying taking his photo because her my fiance left me. And he's just
Mhm,
like, well, you deserve better.
mhm,
And just like him getting like all defensive about her, and you can see that twinkle in her eye because he's like really cares about her.
mhm.
Fun fact, Holly Hunter was Frances McDormand's roommate.
Mm,
That's how the Coen brothers met Holly Hunter and how she got this gig. Because her
naturally.
roommate wound up marrying one of the Coen brothers.
Right.
So, but like, who is also in this movie, in a smaller role. But Nick
Very,
Cage,
very weird role as well.
yes, Nick Cage is hilarious, and
He's
this is Moonstruck
mm,
era Nick Cage, and like the shirt, the hair,
the
the
hair,
mustache. It's just it's the whole
that
package. It's
that dopey look that he just kind of gives. Uh, there's James Franco was roasted on Comedy Central, and Bill Hader to me gave the best roast of him is like, you have a crippling addiction we like to call dumb face. And that is the
Um,
face that Nicolas Cage has throughout this whole thing. He's
mhm.
got dumb face.
We get a whole discussion about the president of Hollywood. That Bill Hader does
Mhm.
roasts. Um, but like, yeah, High does have dumb face.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate is like his introspective,
Mm,
reflective, like monologues in his head and his
yeah,
dreams, and like that adds depth to this movie that this movie
absolutely.
didn't need to have, but it does, and it makes it better.
Yeah.
Holly Hunter, I love like when she's crying and is upset. Like Holly Hunter is an unsung hero of actors out there. I love Holly Hunter. He's
Mhm.
so good in everything. You have the dynamic duo of John Goodman and William
John
Forsythe.
Goodman again. Yeah, just
Ah! Screaming
stealing. Yeah.
as he's Shawshanking it, popping his head up out of the mud, escaping from prison.
Hmm.
I just love that they went back. They went back to
They
their
they just
home.
went they went
They
back in
climbed.
once they realized that they escaped too soon. That's the problem.
Yep.
Um, I the bank robbery scene towards the end where he's like everyone's like, wait, do we freeze or
Do we
do
get
we
down
get on
on
the
the
ground?
ground or do we freeze? Or it's
And
like,
he's
where's the tellers? We're down here.
don't use my real name. Oh, it's a code name. Yeah, it's a
It's a
code
code
name.
name. They keep leaving the baby places.
It just William Forsythe in this is just hilarious because he's getting like genuine. I love how attached everyone gets to this kid, even
Yeah.
though they don't like the kid's cute, but also he can't talk, he can't do shit right now. So I don't understand. Like, I think it's hilarious that all these people get attached to this kid, but to leave him on to leave the kid on the like on the roof of a car just like you would leave like a soda or something like that, and just the way that they scream every time that they realize
Ah!
that they left the kid somewhere and they
Yeah.
have to turn around and just drive back to go get him. Oh, just
Um, Trey Wilson, really love him, or his name ain't Nathan Arizona.
mhm.
He's a fun little addition to this whole equation. And then,
but But to your point as well, that scene at the end when High and
yeah,
Ed gave the baby back, and he- Trey Wilson, just like everyone else, like he's an idiot too. Like just
yes,
because he's a more successful idiot than the rest of them doesn't change the fact that he's an idiot and he's an asshole. But that scene where he kind of gives them a little bit of grace and
yeah,
encourages them like, hey, sleep on it, like give it at least a night, like don't
yeah,
break up yet. Like this movie did not need that scene, but it works so very well.
yes. We have Randall Tex Cobb, Leonard Smalls, the rider of the apocalypse, straight out
Hmm.
of a Mad
Mad
Max
Max,
movie.
yeah.
Which so there's two action sequences in this movie. That Huggies robbery turned into a chase to the yodeling music
Hmm.
is one of the funniest slapstick ridiculous action sequences you're ever going to see.
Hmm.
And Carter Burwell, who's done scores for the Coens for all of this time, and that whole all the yodeling was ridiculous
Oh
and
yeah,
pitch perfect.
for sure.
um but that sequence where he's running through yards and running from dogs and being shot out of the grocery store and all of these things, and the final sequence where they're taking down Smalls, blow him up, and it's the most obnoxious giant explosion.
Hmm.
It's just ridiculousness. This movie is turned up to 12.
Right.
Like the colors are so bright and vibrant. I think one of the unsung heroes of this movie is Barry Sonnenfeld.
Mm.
who would
Yeah.
go on and direct, Men in Black, The
Mm,
Addams Family. He was their cinematographer at the beginning before they got Deakins, who
yeah.
starred on Barton Fink. Barry Sonnenfeld was the cinematographer, the Coens, and it's that like wide fisheye
Hmm.
kind of lens and the obnoxious like wide shots and all of those kinds of things that like you see all over Men in Black and the Addams Family. It's here because Sonnenfeld brought that to the table, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
But if you want a ton of laughs, watch these
Yes.
two movies, and you won't
Agree.
regret it.
Agree. And as somebody who didn't like The Big Lebowski at first and didn't really give it another chance, I'm very glad that I did because I wouldn't say my opinion of it has completely changed, but it has moved from I think it's overrated to I enjoy this quite a bit and I will be happy to watch this again at some point.
I want to watch The Big Lebowski in a room full of people and just enjoy all the laughter because it
Mhm,
is such a fun time.
mhm.
Raising Arizona, because Raising Arizona is a blast too.
Yep.
But that is a wrap on another episode of the Wasteland Retrospective. Next week, uh, Luke and I are going to be talking about some fun Olivia Newton-John musicals because it's Xanadu and Grease. And yes, Luke picked Xanadu, so I do love Grease. I do not love Xanadu. But you'll find out next week. And next month, in honor of the long anticipated
Sure.
Netflix sequel to Happy Gilmore, we're going to be doing Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. The if you thought I quoted these movies a lot this episode,
I will be quoting both of these movies to death next time. So be prepared.
Mike, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips.
You're just trying
Um,
to ease the tension, baby. That's all. It's just trying to ease the tension.
but um, but thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite Coen Brothers film? I love them all. Spoiler alert. I even enjoy the Lady Killers quite a bit. It's definitely their worst, but I still enjoy it. Make sure
Mm.
to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding and there's tons of shows, but I'm doing my best and keeping up with them. And honestly, most of these shows are really growing on me. I'm learning so many things about quiz shows and way too much information that I ever wanted to know about Middle Earth. And all kinds of fun stuff. But if you want to join the crew by starting a show or being a guest, make sure to reach out. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.